Welcome back, everyone. I've got a familiar face with me, Emily, but I've also got Mark Rader who's joining with me. He's part of the team out here in Malibu, California. And sometimes I forget to ask pertinent questions. And I thought, why not bring Mark in? Because he's actually leading the way as a productivity coach for our office. And he's also an agent who's practicing as well. So, Emily, you get two of us today. How are you?
I love it. So nice to see you both and everyone out there too. Nice to be back. I'm going to try today to not have a cat. There's like a running joke going on that there's always a cat during a Follow Up Boss webinar on my table. So I tried to
well, that's just perfect.
And then Mark just served his purpose. There you go, Mark. Great.
I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. All right. That's your productivity coach of the day.
Emily. All right. So you just did a session for your agents out in Florida, and tell us how you started that, because it was with one question. I thought it's a pertinent question because it could happen to some of us, whether we move or whether we want to start in a new area, even outside of the area we cover. Ask the question, and then I'll go from there.
That sounds perfect. So I asked the crew that was in, we were talking about listings, and I said, hey, what were to happen if in 7 days you were to lose your real estate license if you could not come up with a listing? So if in 7 days you can't find a listing out there, you can't buy or sell real estate on your own license for the rest of your life. It would just go away. Wow. And we spent about 10 minutes whiteboarding together all of the ways. And I'll tell you, the first thing that came out of someone's mouth was, I just sell my own house. And I was like, well, your spouse might be mad at us over this exercise, wow. But it was creative. We'll give you that one.
That's a good answer.
It is, right?
If you were really desperate, right? Like that's the answer I guess you'd go to. But there are a lot of creative ways to find inventory out there. And in this market, I'm sure like we're experiencing here in Orlando, I'm sure many of you are experiencing the same. There's not a lot of inventory out there. So you have to know where to go find the hidden inventory. You have to know how to hunt that down, but you also have to know how to find the listings. So I'm excited to dive into that and talk to you about it. What I'll tell you is that in that same session, I asked the question, we spent 10 minutes figuring it out, and then we spent 50 minutes doing the work and saying, pick something off the board and do it. Let's sit here, let's dive in, let's put the time in and do the work. And in real estate, we know it's magic. When we put the work in, it tends to come back to us. So I can account for 8 listings that are coming on my coming soon board right now in the office from that one 50-minute session. And there were only maybe like 15 agents in this class. So it was a small number of agents, a high number of listings for just taking the time to brainstorm for 10 minutes together and then spending 50 minutes doing the work.
That's beautiful.
So,
how many agents do you currently have? And what was your production last year again?
So we're 87 on the team total. That's staff and agents. Last year we served 1,029 families. And this year we're looking at serving about 1,200 families together.
I love that.
Awesome.
Nice.
So
Dude,
we have
Mark,
to go in the listings.
Yeah.
Mark, I already sense like an activity for you and for me to be able to do that for the office and for the team. That's really cool.
I'm planning on burning this page with notes because on Friday, that's when I teach my class with like 50 agents that jump on and on Zoom and also in person. So I'm just going to be like putting them to work with this. And if they're watching this, then show up.
I love it. All right, Emily. So what started happening in the first 10 minutes? Like, what are some of those answers that you got that you thought were like, oh, this is good?
Yep. So I'm gonna break this up into some sections for you to try to make it easy. And the first place I would tell you, and this is pertinent because we're talking about follow-up boss, is start with your database. So if you don't know where to go and you don't know what to do and you're looking for listings, don't be afraid to start with your database. So call every past client you have and check in. You can do a quick equity checkup. You could do just a quick, hey, I was thinking about you guys. Hey, by the way, at the end of that call, any of your neighbors mentioned moving, keep me in mind. Like just very easy, basic, doesn't have to be, a thick sell. It can be just very authentic, but start with your past clients. You could pop by their houses with, in spring, so you could take flowers, you could take something cute. Easter's coming, so you could take an Easter basket or take something of the sort. We just passed St. Patrick's Day, so we had suggested agents show up with lotto cards, like bring over a stack of lotto cards, something easy that you have a reason to pop by and drop off something. If you can't get what you need out of your past clients, I would be looking at who your investor clients are. Who are my folks with inventory typically in their back pocket that I could call up and see if maybe they know about something coming from another agent? If you are on a team like ours where we lead, we're a rainmaking team. So we have a lead pond in Follow Up Boss that agents can go digging in. So I would be asking, does anybody in my office have a pond I can call through? Or if you have access to one, do the work, take advantage of what you have in front of you. And if that's
Other people's ponds.
Other
That is a
people's
really
ponds.
good
I
idea.
thought she said that. I was like, did she just say other people's
I
ponds?
did.
That's great.
That's
cool.
brilliant.
I love that.
And offer a referral percentage. Hey, if I could get somebody out of this pond, I'll pay you the referral. Because if they're not doing the work anyway, or they're too busy, it's worth an ask.
Hey, you're not using your database, but I'll call for you and I'll give you a referral fee of anybody. That's brilliant. I love that.
Absolutely. And if that doesn't work, I recommend just starting with the A's in your phone. Call through your entire sphere and put them on notice. Like, hey, I need a huge favor. People love to help. So if you say, hey, every time you drive by a FSBO, will you send me a picture of that? Will you let me know what you see out there in the universe and turn them into like your little army of trying to spot hidden inventory? Or like, hey, if you're in Starbucks and you hear somebody in line make a comment, would you just be brave and mention my name? I'm really desperate. My clients are looking for homes. I've got real people that are anxious to get into a home in this market and help put them on your mission. People love to help other people. And so I would say start with your database, always, always, always. And then if that doesn't work, you can take the ring of your like right here database and go broader and say, okay, I couldn't get anybody out of my direct sphere, couldn't get anybody out of my past clients. Who's next? And start thinking through, what financial planners do I know in this area? What divorce attorneys are in this area? What parent groups am I a part of? Or kids' school, like, can I volunteer at the school and meet some new people and put myself in a new network? Or what sporting teams are my kids a part of? Or what art clubs or whatever, wherever it is, be in that space as a good one and just start creating more meaningful relationships, or slide in late with your name tag on or with your t-shirt on and just be amazing in the space that you're in. And they'll naturally assume like, okay, well, if he's good at being an amazing coach on the soccer field or good at being, a great dad who just shows up and is at all the things, and you got that name tag on, they might naturally associate you being a great agent as well. So if you can't find anybody right here in the database, spreading out a little further and thinking of it more like networking, what groups can I get myself in front of? What opportunities are there kind of in that space to find listings in this season?
That's so good. I love that.
You know what's actually interesting, that Emily, that you just said that? I have someone in my coaching program. They actually got a listing from a yard sale, off market listing from a yard sale.
Wow.
Yeah, so they showed up, right? And it was an older gentleman, and they started talking, kind of hitting it off. It was her and her husband, and they started talking about it, hitting it off. And then he actually ended up saying, like, "Hey, I'm actually thinking about selling," because they kind of asked him, why are you selling all this stuff? Because it wasn't like a typical yard sale; it was almost like an estate sale kind of thing. And he mentioned, like, I'm thinking about selling it. I want to do, a for sale by owner at first, but I would be more than willing to pay an agent, and he has no idea about putting it online. So they're trying to work it to get the listing, but at the very least, it's buzzing around the office for an off market purchase.
Dude, yard sale prospecting.
Yard. It sounds hilarious.
All Sunday. That's all you're going to do. Just go down to every garage sale, every yard sale, and be like, "Are you selling your home? All right, I'll buy this."
Honestly though, and if not, you might find some cool stuff.
I like that. All right, Emily.
I'm looking for a good Nerf gun.
I love it. There you go.
What else popped up on your list?
So social media, and I think this is a huge rabbit hole, so we'll keep this one short, but creating some authentic posts. I have a buyer searching for, and start to list your buyer needs, almost like a Match.com profile. These guys are looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath with a pool. Ideally would be close to whatever location it is, or they love this particular neighborhood. Who do you know that lives in this neighborhood that I could connect with to see if they might know anybody that's willing to sell? So it's putting your army to work on your mission, because people love to help others. So I have a buyer searching for is great, or help me help my clients, or help me help my customers. This is where you can also put your army out and say, hey, please keep an eye out for those FSBOs or people in your neighborhood or people in your office who might be wanting to sell. I have a lot of buyers in my pocket who are looking for And if the more you can specifically list, the more I find it to be authentic. If you're just saying, I have buyers and they want a house, like you're trying to sell the authenticity of what you're actually looking for so that people kind of line up again and know exactly what you're looking for so that they really can help. You could post in Nextdoor, you could post on Facebook. Better yet, you could ask a client who lives in those spaces to help you by posting on your behalf. So that again, it comes off as authentic. It doesn't look like another real estate agent just trying to find a listing from a neighborhood. It looks like, someone from the neighborhood trying to actually find something of value. But using social media to your advantage, not being a secret agent, not being afraid to ask for help, and not being afraid again to put that army of folks that you're already connected to at work for you.
You know what I love about that is that oftentimes when you think of social media, you're like, okay, you post something, says, hey, if you're looking for X, Y, and Z, sign up. We'll help you out as a buyer's agent. But this is flipping it, where you're actually reaching out to the community and saying, hey, are you willing to sell? That's really cool.
Yeah, and they don't have to say my agent's looking for someone. They can say I have a friend.
Yeah.
Or know someone looking for a home in this neighborhood, and you're giving them the language so that you're letting them hit the easy button on your behalf.
Yeah,
Really good.
But I love that. That's great.
That's really good.
Last thing on my list for finding listings specifically that came out of that session was just thinking through inventory. So searching through the solds on MLS for maybe things that sold 3 to 5 years ago. These folks have equity. There's a lot of technology out there that'll let you search phone numbers and find, out how to connect with these folks. You can call the FSBOs yourself. You can go through expireds. You can host open houses. They could be yours, or they could be, another agent in your office. And you can offer to pay referral fees or say, let me take any listings that come from this. I'll give you the buyers and or opposite. Like, you can get creative about inventory and how to use it to find those off-market ways to generate listings.
I love
Emily,
that.
Do you have specific tools that you use for that, or just nothing come to mind?
So our crew uses COO Realty. We use ugly signs that we put in the neighborhood when we're looking. We use one-line letters. We're doing it's all the circle processing, Red X, Mojo.
Nice.
Kind of everything all together to make it all work.
Cool.
We've
Yeah.
tested out Prospect Now. That works really well. Take a look at that. Prospect Now identifies who the top 5% are in an area that are probably going to sell based on how long they've been there, how much equity they have, and a bunch of other algorithm stuff. So check that out. And then I was talking to Peter Hernandez on Friday. He's the president of Douglas Elliman. And he said, because this reminds me of what you're talking about. He said, Tristan, we have all of our agents. He says, we have them during a home inspection. We have them door knock on the neighboring homes, maybe 6, 7, a few of them. And then we let them know, hey, we're having a home inspection. Just wanted to let you know. We just finally put that one under contract. But do you know anything about the neighborhood? Like, what can you tell me? And then that does 2 things. One, it lets them know that you're doing, right? You're actually working. Mm-hmm. But number 2 is like, they get curious. They're like, well, how much did you put it under contract for? And then you can either decide, you're like, well, I can't tell you that until or you can be like, this is how much, if you have permission. But either way, I mean, if you're going to say, hey, I can't tell you that, but I'll text you as soon as we close so that you know, what's your number? There's so many opportunities on that I thought that it just reminded me of what you said. I was like, that's so good. Which one out of everything that you listed or that the agents listed, which one did you like the best? You're like, that should be at the top.
So it's 2 for me. Number 1, putting I have a buyer searching for post out because I think you're trying to alert your larger network. And then the second was taking the time to call your past clients and check in. They want to hear from you. They have a relationship with you. They see you hopefully as their expert. And so getting to hear from you on a regular basis shouldn't be a strange thing. That should be something that you're working towards, like a quarterly touch, or even if it's twice a year. They don't need to hear from you every day. But hearing from you on what value is on their home or just checking in on how they're doing authentically will lead to a really great repeat referral business. And so it's super, super important. But calling your past clients and even just saying, hey, I was just thinking about you because I was just driving through every time you drive through their neighborhood, if you've got to drive to get to your next spot, just make a quick call and say, hey, I was just in your neighborhood and I was thinking about you because I just popped into another house that's your same floor plan. And that house is selling right now for 60,000 more than you paid for it 6 months ago. So I just wanted to say that you made a great buy. And that's it. I was just calling to let you know that I was thinking about you guys and you can be on your way. It's just the little stuff, right?
You made a great buy. I like how you shifted that because I didn't know where you were heading. I was like,
yeah.
Mark, that's really good, bro.
That is good. I like that. Question for you.
Yeah,
oh,
no,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You're good.
For those who are listening who don't know, run us through this. So you do the post on social media. I have a buyer looking in blank for blank. Okay, great. Awesome. Now what? Do we boost the post? Do we not boost the post? What do we do next?
So on an agent's page where they're just looking at their network, no, this is just an authentic post out to their network where they're just communicating one-to-one with their sphere. If I were doing this from the brokerage or sending it out, it would look like an ad. It would look, and then I might boost it or I would put some money behind trying to get that in front of the right eyeballs. Sure. But for an agent, this is an authentic plea to the people that they really know, that already know, love, and trust them, that they're connected to, that they are on the hunt and looking for inventory. So it's twofold. It's hopefully finding the inventory. It's a message out there that hopefully somebody's connected to that says, wait a minute, I know somebody that has that, or I can connect you. But on the other side, it's exactly what Tristan was talking about with the door knocking. It's the message that I'm working hard to try in this season to try to connect my buyers to real inventory. And so it's a message to your database that you're working hard. And it's also a plea that hopefully they'll help you come up with the inventory that you need in order to serve that client's needs. So I want to make sure too that we have time to flip the script on this, because while I think it's great to try to go find listings, the other thing in this market and the way to win is hidden inventory. So do you have a good system set up in this market to find hidden inventory for the buyers that you do have? Because I don't know about your guys and your teams, but I'm hearing a lot of buyer agent fatigue right now because they're writing a lot of offers because there isn't a lot out there. Or, you've got the buyers that have unrealistic expectations right now. And so they're having to burn through one or two first in order to kind of learn the ways of the market. And so we're trying to teach our folks, you've got to come up with extra inventory to overcome that. And then you've also to kind of get really, really good at writing the best offer possible, at presenting that offer in a way that's going to stand out amongst the 30 that it's sitting with. And that's making it easy for the agent on the other side to, see everything that you're presenting clearly. So taking the extra time to text all of the details and say, I just sent this over, but here are the 10 details that you would need to know about this offer. Or taking the time to call even ahead of that and ask the question, what is the seller really looking for, to see if that's something that your buyer can match. But it's hidden inventory, and then it's winning on the offer side too. So I have some ideas on the hidden offer or hidden inventory side if you guys are up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go.
So it's having the list so that you have in the morning when you get up and you're looking at your searches for your agents, you're like, okay, or for your clients, it's not just MLS. Where else are you going? In Florida, it's going to a place called MLS Advantage, which gives us the ability to look at all of our MLSs in one spot. So for instance, we sell in 114 zip codes, but there's a county right across the line that if an agent pops a property in their particular county's box, it's not going to show up in my main MLS, but it will show up on MLS Advantage. But if I don't, as an agent, get up and check MLS Advantage, I'm going to miss out on that piece of inventory that's right in my backyard that fits my buyer's, criteria, but I missed it because it's not a place that I'm just waiting for it to show up. We recommend our agents go to sites like Rex Homes or even like Zillow for sale by owner or forsalebyowner.com or buyowner.com or Fizber, which feeds Redfin, or Craigslist, or looking in those places where a buyer might be looking without you in order to come up with the inventory, and then taking the time to use all of the other things we talked about to go knock on doors or go make a few phone calls to those buy owners and see, would you be willing to work with an agent? Or can I come up with a buyer agreement that if they won't pay a commission, my buyers are willing to pay my commission so that we can bring the deal together? Because in this market, it's about bringing all the puzzle pieces together and helping all of the parties win in order to get folks into homes. So same thing on this side. It's where do I get it? And then how do I secure it? You can do that through networking, just like on the other side for listings. On this side, it's networking with agents that specialize in other areas of town. So if I'm looking on the west side and I normally work on the east side, I'm going to call every top agent on the west side and ask, what do you have coming? What do you have in your back pocket? I have a well-qualified buyer. We're ready to go. And can we see it before everyone else? Or can I be first in line? Or can you tell me what it is that the sellers are looking for so that we can sculpt that offer to be a perfect match? And again, that's up to the other parties, but we're working to try to get folks to what they need. You can join Facebook community groups, same thing. We talked about earlier, you can call past clients again. And so it's all the same stuff. You're just flipping the script because this time you do have buyers in your hands. You can call property managers, local property managers, and say, hey, do you have anybody that's actually looking to sell that property soon and is going to want to turn over? And they may say, oh, well, I'm working with another agent on that. And you say, great, who's the agent? So you can then do a second phone call to the agent, right? And reach out. But you can market with one-line letters, sending those into a community, or like I've seen them called golden letters, or we really do have a buyer that wants to buy this home. And there are lots of ways to do that. We pair those with a layered attempt of some Facebook marketing, the one-line letter, and we call it the ugly yellow sign, but it's putting an ugly sign in the neighborhood that you've handwritten. Like, I really do have a buyer that wants to live in this neighborhood. And then we call the neighborhood. So they're seeing all of those things at one time in a layer while you're looking for inventory. And then we get HOAs that call and they're like, please don't put your ugly yellow sign next to our pretty mailboxes or next to our gate.
That's funny.
But, I will say this, for those who are listening, to just kind of go off of what Emily said, it actually does work doing the letters, the personal letters. I actually did it for myself personally, and I bundled it into this little, it was like a neon colored envelope, and went to every single door and just put down the address of the door, dropped it on. 30 doors later, I got someone who called me and said, hey, we'll sell you the house. Can you come check it out on the next week on Monday? I was like, sure.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, it was crazy. We ended up not liking the house, but it works, guys. It works.
Well, and what if you paired your ugly yellow sign with yellow envelopes, right? So they like go together. I'm serious. Like, so that people.
That's good branding right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that. I love that a lot. All right. So I was thinking probably for sale by owners too, if they're popping up. Are they popping up in your area as much, Emily? Or?
Yes, I'm seeing them more often than we were before, I think, because people are thinking, hey, in this market, it's easy to get a buyer, right? So I can do this. And so what we're telling folks is it's easy to get the buyer, it's easy to get the offer, but it's really difficult to get to the closing table with everything that's been offered up front. So you're still going to need an expert negotiator. You're still going to need somebody to walk you through the appraisal and help you get everything at the closing table that you were promised with the offer.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, in the market you're in, Emily, if I'm looking for a listing to get within 7 days and I'm going to lose my license, if I have to discount as a for sale by owner, I'm taking a few.
Yep.
And I'm just making it happen.
Or take a zero and say, you know what, this is the mousetrap and I'm going to get more buyers off of this. And at least I took the listing so I can keep my license.
You know, the challenge with that is that some people are really quick to say, I'm not discounting, but when you're in a bind or you're new, do you have another option? Sometimes no. And I think it's okay. That's where we have to be like, you know what, we're going to make this happen no matter what. And we know that it's a stepping stone to doing something greater. Right. So I love what you said, the mousetrap. That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Well, and for sale by owner, there's a way to create a have your cake and eat it too scenario for them where you say, listen, you were already listed on your own. So let's in this contract that we write up say, hey, if you find the buyer, my commission is this. If I find the buyer, my commission is this. But either way, I'll run the transaction. I'll make sure that we get to the closing table on time. And you're creating that win-win for all parties. But there's a way to give them what they were trying to ultimately accomplish from the start, which is they can find the buyer themselves.
Mark, when you're calling on Red X,
Dude.
if you find the buyer, I'm out. It's fine. But if we find the buyer, here's how it works.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I got on my calendar today. I have Red X from 4 to 5. So
Nice.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna try that out. I'm gonna do okay. Let's roll the dice. Let's see what happens.
Well, it's a win-win for them, right? They're no farther ahead, but now they have a professional working on their behalf to bring it here.
Dude, all right. Question from Maziar. I don't know if I pronounced that one. I'm so sorry. Hi, Emily. Thanks for Will you share your notes from the list and sources, please? What was the first source you mentioned from the MLS? Please, not sure if we have such sources in Canada.
Oh, good. So MLS Advantage is the Florida thing. It's available to us through the FAR website, which is Florida Association of Realtors. So probably not in Canada. The list that I've been reading off of in the back end of our brokerage, we've created a website for our agents that they can use. So it's not something I can share outside of brokerage, but I can share a screen and we can do screenshots if that's helpful.
Yeah,
So
if you want to throw one up onto the Follow Up Boss community, just to kind of show, that'd be awesome. People would love that.
Yep, I can share it right after we get done. Then
Perfect. All right, Mark, any questions that I missed?
There's so
I'm
many.
sorry,
questions.
that was a lot.
There is so many questions and just so many good things.
Look, I got all this.
Yeah, I got mine too. Your handwriting is a bit nicer than mine, but whatever.
Yours is ugly, Mark. We won't talk
I'm just
about
I
jealous
should've
that
been
you
a-
guys have fancy notebooks.
I should have been a doctor.
Steno.
Right.
Emily. Well, look, we're listening. We're the ones taking notes here. So here, last question. When you did this with your agents, how did you break it down into small actionable steps so that it happened? Because like, it's cool to look at it and then be like, all right, everybody's excited, but like, what's the next step?
So the day we did it as a group, we didn't. We said, don't think, just do it. Like, stop overthinking this and get moving. Because honestly, that's a lot of it. Right now, the trick is to get up and go to work and approach this like it's a real, like, full-time, I'm going to sit down every morning and I'm going to prospect and I'm going to find these listings and I'm going to pretend like my license is on the line, because it is. It really is. You're not going to lose your license in 7 days and they're not going to turn it off. However, if you can never find another seller or you can never serve another buyer, then you can't do your job. So you have to get up and do the work. We organized it eventually. And this is, I'll take a couple screenshots of this and share this out with the group. But this is the back end of our resource page behind the scenes for our team. So this lives for them. Every morning they can get up and they can click through these links and it takes them right to the sites. So if you would like, I'll go slow so you can screenshot this if you'd like to, but this is our agent's reminder of, like, if I'm looking for hidden inventory, this is it. So they can get up, they can go to our behind the scenes Google site and they can just click down the list and they can look and they can search on behalf of their clients. And then other ways to find inventory for us. And so this would be if you have a buyer in your hand. So again, if you want to screenshot, I'll put the screenshots of this and Follow Up Boss for everybody. But this is it. Like, networks, it's all the stuff we talked about today, the marketing for the listings, maximizing your MLS search, which we didn't really get into. This is really big. These are things like, keep on mind, back on market statuses, alerts don't get sent out to clients, at least in our MLS. They might in yours. But if they don't, that's something to keep an eye on for clients. TOM status, call those agents. Why are you in TOM? Is it just because, you got a painter that's coming in, or it's this inspection that's gone bad? Like, what's going on there? So there are ways to find inventory for buyers. And then the last section, again, if you want a screenshot and I'll pop it up, this is the brainstorm that we did with the crew.
Nice.
That's the one. Post that one. That's a good one.
This is the one right here. But really what it looked like to start, let's see if I'm clever enough to do this, was this.
Oh, look at
it looks like my notes.
Right.
Mark, see, you don't have to feel
right
bad.
Here.
You're good.
So we sat in our trading room, we wrote on a whiteboard, and then we said, okay, pick one and go to work and spend 50 minutes and eight listings from this list. So don't overthink it, just do the work. And so what I came back is we organized it into pieces so that it makes more sense for folks afterwards.
Right.
So really,
thank you.
starts with this.
You know what? Please post that one up. And then Emily, if anybody wants to get a hold of you to send you referrals out in Florida and Orlando, how do they get a hold of you?
Yes. So I'm Emily Smith, Wemert Group Realty, and you can just go to wemertgrouprealty.com. I'm all over the Follow Up Boss community. So you're welcome to find me on Facebook as well. So nice to spend time with you guys today. Thanks for asking.
You always impress me. So
that was a really good.
Thank
session.
you so much. We appreciate you, Emily.
You're welcome, you guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good day.